Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. First of all, I want to thank the USAID. I want to congratulate and thank USAID for the support that they have given to us in these 25 years. And hopefully in the next 25 years, we will invite you at our anniversaries of MacAid with love from Macedonia's people. I'll deliver my speech in Albanian, so for those who need translation, please.
Perhaps we cannot manipulate or influence laws of physics in order to turn back time and the flow of things and change the past. We cannot even move to the future in order to dictate the decisions of present, at least not for now. If time is a flowing dimension and an unstoppable of physics existence, we as human beings are closely tied to another existential dimension, the one of our imagination. Therefore, today I want to speak a little bit differently. I want to speak to you through my imagination. In these few minutes, as utopian as it may sound, I would like to invite you to join me for a different time dimension. In Macedonia of the year 2043. Now imagine a Macedonia where there is a state of law or a rule of law which functions completely without corruption, with a professional administration, with qualitative services, with developed and competitive economy, qualitative educational system where everyone feels as a part of that system. Now, allow me to tell you that how in my imagination we built Macedonia of 2043. We began with an uncompromised fight against corruption. That was the core of many of our problems. Citizens declared war to the corrupted officials and refused to pay for the services that all belonged to them. But what made the difference was that they refused to vote for the corrupt politicians in the elections to come. The already aware institutions, for the responsibility they have, did install the practice of transparency and accountability in front of citizens. This practice enabled the taxpayers to see how their money is being spent. It did restrain nepotism and the interests of special groups that tried to unjustly gain through manipulating the system. By making sure that the citizens would be included in all decision-making processes and will help institutions through their suggestions, the institutions created mechanisms as local councils, local communities, youth councils, social economic councils, open citizens debates, participative budgeting, continuous consultation with the civil society and the rest. Just as the system was corrupt at that time, the citizens didn't have trust in the public institutions at all. This lack of trust did directly reflect the decisions of the citizens in relation to the state. We were faced with a scary immigration flux. And here, the first ones that ran away were the young ones and professionals, left in the margins of the society as unemployed, not validated enough, and without a clear perspective for their future. Macedonia made two quick and necessary steps in order to address this issue and to regain the trust from their citizens to the public institutions. The first and most urgent one was to enable a rule of law, and laws began to be implemented practically by being equal for everyone. The country became from a systematic discriminator to a true guardian of the rights of the citizens. Secondly, we completely reformed the educational system by starting from the primary education. Students, instead of learning mechanically, they began to think and to learn how to think in a critical way. The secondary schools were clearly profiled, whereas universities were turned into research centers, study centers, and an avant-garde of solving social problems. At that time, though the administration was overflowed with employees and overcrowded, it was ineffective and the public services were of poor quality. They were untimely and clientelism was a common occurrence that you would find in the outdated bureaucratic corridors. Mostly this was the result of the partition of the administration and of not separating the state from the ruling political parties. We overcame this problem by setting clear criteria for employment in the public administration, and we based it on a merit system by avoiding any political influence in the selection of the administrators. Moreover, the leaders of the institutions began to be selected based on their professional experience, their leadership programs, and not based on their political affiliation. We used various international experiences to govern in a modern and transparent manner by incorporating latest technologies which digitalized the public services. By doing so, we created a professional public administration that served citizens efficiently and with high quality. 25 years ago, in Macedonia of 2018, elections were a real anxiety and a nightmare for citizens. They did not represent the most sublime act of democracy. The entire election process was filled with numerous irregularities. The political parties, and especially the ones in power, used public resources to finance their election campaigns. There were official cars being used, public money being spent by various institutions from officials in order to cover party spending. There was pressure on the public administration, and social services and various political favors were used to buy votes from the citizens. The election day was often associated also with fights at the very polling stations, while citizens turned to ballot boxes with fear and ambiguity. We also had a voting system where we could not directly elect our representatives, but we were forced to vote for the lists of the parties whose rankings were made according to the party leaders' calculations. And this brought harsh control over the individual opinion of our representatives, both in parliament, local councils, as well as throughout the state system. We decided to change this. Initially, The justice authorities condemned all officials that did abuse state resources for party needs. Moreover, they were forbidden by law to hold public positions in the future. Moreover, we changed the electoral system, and instead of voting for the party, now we vote directly for the representative, our representative in the legislative bodies. And besides raising their responsibility towards the voters, it really did improve communication with the citizens. In Macedonia of 2043, we built a healthy democracy and a functional one, where citizens enjoy all their rights and are equal before the law, regardless of their ethnic, religious, racial, sexual orientation, their specific needs, or another individual affiliation. Today, the most important institution is the citizen. Please allow me to end my speech with a saying which I refer to very often when my thoughts go between the belief in the possible and impossible. Sometimes even the king was just an idea until people started believing in it. Thank you.